you watched yesterday's video, you'll remember that this table was clear and clean. Well, it's back to being my command center. Has my comfy chair in there instead of a dining chair. I just moved it over. But I'm going to show you a little bit of my mom's kitchen because I want to go over the remodel. I will pause it because she'll get all over me if I spin the camera and show her messy kitchen, or at least part of her messy kitchen. Okay, the reason why Mom got her kitchen redone was she bought this fridge. It's a beautiful fridge. She actually carried around an ad in her purse for 6 or 8 months, even though the sale that the ad had been on went off. Well, I'm going to run a slideshow of the photos I took when I did it, but this is, oh, and ignore my mess on the counter here. This is her replacement kitchen. Oh yeah, the important stuff. My coffee. Had to bring it with me. The kitchen, after it was determined that the fridge wouldn't fit, her and her husband went and got a bid to have the kitchen done by Lowe's. Just a footnote here. A little messy up here, but ignore it. This piece right here, the spacer at the end, is the piece that I used to make the handles out of for the knife and the spatula, the remainder of that piece. Her and her husband went to Lowe's and got a bid on getting this kitchen done. She already had the fridge, so that wasn't part of the bid. The microwave, the stove, a sink, Corian countertops. These are actually granite. But the bid was right around $17,000. Oh, that also included a floor. And they weren't really happy with the bid. So Mom actually had seen these hickory at Home Depot. You just buy them. And she liked them. So she ended up, I took measurements and went through the kitchen, and most of what was here we were able to get. This little cabinet right here, 9 or 10 inch, I think it's 9 inch, we couldn't get, so we had to wait for that. Can't remember what else. I know there was one other piece. I think it was either this piece or one of the ones on the bottom over there. So I ended up doing it for her, including the floor. I had to have some tools to do it. Those tools, all the materials for the kitchen, it came in at under $10,000. So, oh, and that included, I believe that included the countertop. If not, the countertops were another $2,500, and that was done locally by a company that's just a couple miles down the road, and did a good job on it. But because they saved so much money, it was opted to continue on and do the living room floor. So I'm going to run through and do a little narration when I do the slides for the kitchen, but I just thought I'd share a little bit since I did mention that the wood was left over from the kitchen. Well, this is the kitchen. The reason I'm at Mom's while she's out of town is this little ball of fluff. So mom bought her fridge at a Thanksgiving sale, and come to find out, without raising the cabinet where the old fridge was, the new one wouldn't fit. I raised it, had a step there, and the fridge would now fit with the height. However, the countertop at the bottom stuck out too far and it wouldn't fit into the space. This is just the old kitchen before. The microwave on the counter, just the range hood. So I ended up tearing out the counter so that there'd be space. And this is a modular home she's in. The backsplash was actually stapled through from the other side of the drywall. It was a real pain to get out. I ended up putting some holes in and had to repair them. This picture is how Mom's kitchen looked for Christmas. My brother actually came down, and if you notice this knife on the cutting board with the black handle, that's the knife I'm replacing it on. This was January after we got the new parts. The top cabinets are in, the fridge is in place, and I'm starting to put the bottom in. I hadn't taken out the other side where the stove was. This is after I started with the top cabinets. You notice the spacers aren't there on the either end yet. Okay, this is out of order. This was before I'd taken out the stove wall. Now I've got the base cabinets in and the island, and if you'll notice here on the right, no, that's different. That's actually TV trays with stuff on it, because hot plate and whatnot. More pictures as I'm getting the base done. You can see my levels there. I had a pair of them I was using, as well as the clamps holding it together. This is as I was putting the back on the island. There's a compressor that I had to get to do this job. This is actually the completed kitchen after the backsplash was put in. Really cool product, just plastic, but it looks like tin. Another angle of it, you can see the table and chair that I did yesterday are the same table and chair. She's got her desk there with one of the chairs. Because it saved so much money, it led to doing a new floor in the living room. This was me taking out the old carpet, and everything that had been in the living room ended up in the kitchen. So the living room and kitchen were merged for that. After it was all done, it ended up coming out pretty nice. You'll notice I did new trim on the door, and the door here showing in the picture doesn't have the top trim. However, in this next picture, the top trim is there on that, and it shows the kitchen and the two floors. Just kind of an interesting shot, that one. This is the table and chair, and showing the floor and part of the island in the kitchen. And here's just another shot of the living room. These are actually Bella's toys because she spends most of the days at Mom's. I plan to do a slideshow and video about the kitchen this week, and my choosing to do it today was a good way to escape the heat. Yesterday was right around 100 degrees, and I managed to get dehydrated, and I don't want to have to go out and play in it any more than I have to. I already had to once today. I was just going to end this with somewhat of a philosophical question. if these are the utensils you had to use to eat with, and the knives were already used to prepare your food, which would you have if you could only choose one piece of one dish and one utensil? Which would be the dish and which would be the utensil that you would choose? Remember, the knives, that's a given. Thumbs up if you like, subscribe, and please feel free to share.